You there, Zach?
What?
Did you know Bob has a brother?
Bob's father?
Has a brother.
Rob has a whole ass family. He's gonna have sisters, cousins.
You mean that evil brother back on Slayer's server?
Ah, you remember him. You remember his brother.
I don't think I met him. Oh, that or I just forgot.
Because it was back when Bob was at war with his brother. It was like a yin yang. Bob was the sheep of light, and I guess the brother was called Bobby or whatever his name was, and he was the sheep of darkness. And Bob was the favorite among the child. Michael wrote a whole Bible about it.
Oh my
I'm trying to
god.
remember.
Mike literally just created a whole fucking religion.
There was also Bob Nina, Bob Retta, Shanique Bob.
Aniqua.
Shaniqua.
No, Shanique Bob.
Shaniqua. Oh god.
She was a rowdy sheep.
Bro, oh my-
Bob Lynn. But Bob was able to banish his brother, and the brother got sent to the Nether,
Just shout around.
where he lurks there, and gained new power. He teamed up with the Wither and the Piglins, and supposedly Herobrine. I don't know. I don't remember much about the Bible, but I kept a copy. And sometimes I'll go to the Church of Bob to read and pray.
Oh my god. Michael literally just created a fucking church. That was.
It was a pretty interesting church.
I've been meaning to add some new lore to the whole Lightners and everything. I just haven't had a chance to get to it.
Bob was a proud warrior.
Bob's father's pretty a chill guy.
I don't know much about Bob's father. All I know
What
is
the hell?
Bob had a brother.
Wait,
We don't know much about Bob's mother.
Yeah, Michael, tell us about Bob's father and mother. This is probably the first I'm hearing about it.
It wasn't really in the Bible of Bob's.
Oh.
Unless Michael has some information about it, which I think he put it in the Bible.
Well,
I was a pretty faithful believer of the Bob Natty religion.
there's some stuff you're not supposed to know yet, so.
But, okay, so who was Bob's father, though, and her mother?
What part of it you're not supposed to know?
Fuck off! Yeah, I get it. So what, did Bob also have, like, cousins, uncles, sisters?
Everybody does.
Imagine.
Bob is a very unique sheep. He's the main sheep. Every other sheep around him.
So he's technically God, pretty much, because back in Greek,
He has his own church. Of course he'd be a god.
well, yeah,
They hung Bob on a cross.
died for your sins.
Bob died for our sins. He spoke the truth, and they couldn't accept it.
And then Kobe comes along and he kills him again.
That and the wife. He kills Bob and the wife.
And they did more than freaking put him on a cross. They did the most despicable thing.
Why?
They sheared him.
They violated him. What the fuck?
Nah, violate. They took what was left of his manhood, his wool.
Took his wool and turned it into clothing.
They made Bob's wool out of a carpet.
That all the
They
step
rubbed their
on him.
boots on. They rubbed their boots on his fur.
Oh my god, yeah.
Since then, Bob, when he resurrected, he was not gonna let that stand.
Oh my, it's
See,
literally Jesus.
the difference between Jesus is while he was always forgiving, Bob did not forgive.
Oh my god. I guess that's what made Jesus
Bob
more
was a new
lovable.
take on, because people get angry at Jesus because they said any other person would have been pissed about what happened to Jesus. If Bob is basically if Jesus was just done taking bullshit. If I was Jesus, I'd start casting lightning all over the place. Gonna put me on the cross?
He wasn't the only one who was executed, if I'm correct. There was other people as well along with him.
Yeah, but he was the main one. He was nothing but nice and kind and showed love and spread the light. And they said, ooh,
He's gay.
and I'm their heart.
Yeah.
And the worst part of all, no sin was done too. He died for everyone's sins, just for more sins to the right to the war.
Sadly, yes, that is pretty much what's going on with that.
That was one that good thing I really liked. But she was pissing me
Worst sin
off.
is to be
All that
paid.
hard work, his sins are still spreading all over the place. It didn't even matter.
Yeah, it never really mattered.
I had to fall to lose it.
I found it funny when Kobe. I was like, oh my gosh.
I'm not surprised. It's funny to see that God died Kobe. Again, only Kobe.
Maybe because Bob banished Kobe. Bob struggled down Kobe lightning. Bob had beef with Kobe.
I'm not surprised.
If Bob had beef with Kobe, Michael had beef with Kobe.
I was never really a religion with Bob. I acknowledge his existence at least. I would at least pray to him. I would never like that's the word I'm thinking of. I acknowledge his existence. I would pray for him.
You know, Bob was there. He never prayed unless he felt threatened by Bob.
I never felt threatened by Bob.
No, every time Bob was, he watched the village and lightning got strong. Bob was angry at you on your knees. Beg forgiveness. Forgive him.
I never really. I don't think I feared Bob. I don't think I ever feared Bob. I at least respect him.
Nah, because when you was talking smack and he struck lightning at your fort, you got real quick.
Well, I believe
Oh, sorry,
fairly.
Bob. You went to church with Daniel and this shit.
I know he was kind of better bring him to me right now.
Bob was killing Kobe every 5 seconds.
Oh yeah, I remember. Bob hated Kobe. I feel like he hated me because I was fully bullied, but I was at least, you know, trying to keep peace with him. That was the only thing I was trying to at least do.
Bob needs to be like Kobe. And Kobe, that's the last one came to Texas Wolf. Bob did disrespect.
I stop raining.
Hey, Rain. What?
It was raining.
It was raining for me.
Over here, it was where I'm at.
Is that like, well, that's different.
The church, Tom Moses Christ, keep telling me that. Send me videos to be stuff in. All that.
They're trying to get you to join.
Praise the good Lord.
No, I hate Bob, so
Yeah, he's just,
you start telling me about Bob. He's like, no, I got I want to see Bob. He's a sheep, a blue sheep. We're gonna hear what happens if you start telling people that. Just be serious about it. But Bob, he cares for you.
oh man, oh my god.
Bob does not forget.
He does not. He seeks revenge still till this day.
And the darkness will soon consume all. Only Bob will be standing at the end of the edge, ready to share his light. Or not. Don't really matter.
or not.
Oh, no.
I still remember what was cited in the book of prophecies of the great battle, and how in one of the battles would end with Kobe and Slayer charging at each other for one last strike.
Why is that?
I told you about it back in your last server that that's what the book of prophecy said.
That me and
Eventually,
Kobe.
you and Kobe would have to strike each other down. One of y'all will reign victorious.
Book of prophecy.
Somehow I could see that being a draw. It's just like no one reigns victorious.
At that point,
Indeed.
it's possible. But it would really depend on what we're fighting for.
Knowing Kobe, he's gonna be a sneaky and try to convince or annoy someone to join his team. Knowing Kobe,
Knowing that he would.
he would bring backup just in case if anything goes wrong.
Usually, I would always try, knowing Kobe, I'd probably do the same shit. Because he would bring me back up. That, or I would make tons of arrow potions of harming. Just splash all the potions, shoot all the arrows at Kobe with harming. Poison him.
So this has nothing to do with Eddie Slayer or Eddie Kobe. It's just A Kobe and A Slayer were destined to strike each other down in all timelines. It always ends that way.
It's on every timeline.
There is no event where you and Kobe didn't strike each other down, according to the Book of Prophecy, which it mentions the timeline branch, and every timeline, like the way it written it out. No matter who the Slayer was or who the Kobe was, it always ended with the two striking each other down.
Let's see.
Eventually, every Slayer and every Kobe will strike each other down. And for what reason, who knows? Hey, what was weird about the Book of Prophecy, now that I look back at it, is it did reveal the events after that fight. But the way it portrayed the events didn't make any sense. But besides the fight between Kobe and Slayer, it did reveal that, the Phoenix would fall. And not only that the Phoenix would fall, that the Ender Dragons clan that I made would took over and conquer the world, but that I wasn't the leader of it. Somebody else who became the leader because Same Ender Dragon and took over the world. And it showed the events between the battles too, or what would happen if Kobe and Slayer fight. And it one of the while it was talking about like after the battle was over, that Slayer held his sword strong, but questioned the darkness in him as the world around him got darker and darker. And then it just go on and say after the battle was over, Kobe was the one holding the sword, and then Kobe reigned the power he had, and that no one could beat him now.
It's like it's telling two sides of the story of an outcome.
But there's more to it. And then as it went on, it said that there was no warrior left, and that there was no light to be shared. The world was set to a blazing blaze with no hero.
Seems like the table.
Villains.
It turned out to be wallowing in the shadows.
Wallowing from the shadows, what?
Wallowing in the shadows. It turned out to be a different plot in the story. As soon as Kobe left.
I don't know. If the prophecy is supposed to take place, because if that I'm kind of curious if the whole prophecy is leading up to different events and all the events and everything is practically canon, then what's next?
They didn't say what was next. Just said what would happen.
Is there anything that is supposedly supposed to come up, or anything that passed? Like, is Slayer F? Oh, was Slayer F mentioned?
No. None of the Slayers were mentioned. It was always just a singular Slayer and a singular Kobe, a singular Michael, singular all. And their counterparts will have to follow suit. Either their counterparts will fall, or the rest will follow suit. But eventually, even if they hate their destiny, they'll still have to accept it.
Yeah,
And out of everyone with strong will, Michael had the most, or strongest will out of everybody. They all said that every Michael would reach to a point where corruption would get the better of him, no matter how much he tried to shine his phoenix light.
now it looks like the story has changed as soon as Kobe. I noticed that as soon as Kobe left, the story has changed.
More like progressed, if anything. I don't know about the story changing. I mean, you
Nah.
did change all Michaels and all timelines. Michaels
Yeah,
were
that-
never really meant to be evil, but because of that, you changed the whole course.
There could be more to this story that you don't know yet.
Who knows? You make it seem like you know it.
I may know it, but
Of course, you would somehow know it, and I don't.
Well, Michael's a man of sheer will and endurance. So he would know some stuff based off of his hypothesis and his journeys.
I wouldn't be surprised if Zach knew because he's always a step ahead.
And now that I think about it, if there's anything Kobe would have to deal with, it did mention a great warrior, and one of the great warriors was referred to the man with the forgotten J.
Forgot. Is it John?
I'm assuming. The name that Kobe refused to speak of.
Yeah, John.
If Kobe did one, I could see a funny transition where someone bitch slaps him and says, "Nope, I rage supreme." Just Kobe had that power for a split second, and then he lost it.
Kobe actually had something like that, I think, once, but then lost it immediately for abusing it.